I did a tantric speed dating event on the weekend, and although I didn't make a video on the Saturday afterwards, I thought it would be valuable. I don't know if anybody will take anything from this, but I just felt it was such a refreshing experience. Tickets are £60, and I always find myself falling in between the cracks in terms of being compatible with women, um, and being able to connect with them beyond just physically wanting to fuck them and be with them that way, and being caught in between an Islamic background and putting a lot of time into spiritual development, not just faith, but spiritual development. And so I thought, let me try this out. And it was a really nice environment. There was about, I'd say, no more than 40 people in the room, between 30 and 40, no more than 40, maybe even less. Do you know what? I should really know. It's probably, it wouldn't have been 40, it would have been less than 30 people, split down the middle, maybe one or two more men, and it was a circle. They set you up in a circle, and there's a female circle within the male circle, and the females rotate, and they give you exercises for about a minute or two, probably more than 1 minute, about 2 to 3 minutes. You get exercises to do. And initially I thought tantric, and I thought, I don't know what tantric is, but I've heard it associated with sex, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It was PG, as they said, but they broke down boundaries with the females and the males. They broke down the boundary of touch, and also intimacy outside of touch, by giving you exercises where you would hold each other, hold hands, embrace each other, and they gave you exercises where you were able to get vulnerable if you chose to. Obviously, you didn't have to do anything. So, which you wouldn't get. You wouldn't get in a normal dating environment, right? Unless you pursue that person and you are able to seduce that person as a man. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself. If you're able to pursue a female and then get intimate and physically kind of have your way, which is basically what most men want to do, right? But with this, it was balanced, right? It was balanced. Nobody was pursuing anybody. You were just put in a place where you both had a similar position, and so there was no hierarchy of someone pursuing somebody else, and nobody was just seducing anybody. You were just given these exercises where you would embrace each other, potentially doing breathing exercises, and then you were told to at some points share something intimate about yourselves. And as these exercises were going on and the women would rotate in their own circles, you would then close your eyes after each interaction. So you got to interact with everybody at least once. You would close your eyes after each interaction, and you had a pouch on your neck. And what would happen is the females were instructed, if they wanted to connect with you, they would put a bead in your pouch. They had a bag of beads. They would put one bead in your pouch. If they still didn't want to connect with you, they would basically implicate they were putting something into the pouch, rather than just blatantly reject you or show no interest. So it was representation. It was a representation of a gifted bead. So they would basically just input nothing. You just place their fingers into the pouch, so you wouldn't feel, or you wouldn't know that you weren't being pursued by that female, and so it doesn't create any tension, and it's a smart way to do things, because when you get home, then you figure out who's had interest in you. And so, yeah, at the end of it, it was just very grounding. It was really easy to talk to everybody. Um, you'd kind of you'd become a little bit vulnerable, and you'd worked you brought your boundaries down. You brought your maybe, if you're quite a guarded person, you were able to overcome that just for a short moment. And it was really easy to talk to everybody then. I mean, I'm somebody who goes out and talks to people anyway. I just put myself in situations where I continue to try and have random conversations with people. And I stop and speak to women in the street all the time. But to be able to have these kind of conversations at such ease was definitely an advantage. And even if you didn't match, you still had a place where you could be intimate and close to women if you haven't had that experience, or if you don't often have those experiences. It was a really good experience, and I did match. I matched with the women that I wanted to. I found that out quite quickly afterwards, because I was speaking to one of them and she mentioned it, and I matched a lot of the women. I ended up matching a lot of, like, I had a high percentage of the women in the room put bead in my pouch. And coming away, I felt like if that was any other dating environment, it would have been really difficult to establish that kind of connection and compatibility. Now, I don't know if I'm compatible with them, but to have that level of interest on such a minimal and such a minimal number of minutes with somebody was quite good. Whether something comes from that or not, I don't know, but it was a positive experience. Was it worth the money? Yes, I would say it was worth the money. I'm just arranging to meet one of the girls as we speak. And yeah, I think if other dating environments was so safe, I think safe would be the right word, safe, then I think it would be easier for people to get to know each other. But then again, there's a certain type of crowd that came to these things. There's a certain type of person potentially that have come to these events, and so yeah. Anyway, that's me.